Good evening, everybody. This is JD. I'm going to talk to you about something that really, about our history, something that happened, something that's real. What I'm going to talk to you about, and I'm going to ask questions, is a little bit of our history of the United States of America. We pretty much know our history about the Revolutionary War, about the colonies, how the colonies were set up. We pretty much know about the Pilgrims and other people coming over to this new world, establishing a new life. And we know quite a bit about the Revolutionary War. Then the writing of the Constitution and George Washington being elected as president, Thomas, and on and on and on. And we know about time prior to the Civil War, the Spanish-Mexican War, the Indian Wars, World War I, World War II, Korean War, and all the time in history, the Great Depression. All this stuff in our history we know. And we teach American history. They ask any student of any intelligence, who was the first president of the United States of America? And quickly they'll respond, George Washington. Which is really the wrong answer. George Washington was the first congressional president of the United States. He actually was the second president of the United States. There was a president before him and a vice president, and there was a Congress and all that. From the time of the end of the Revolutionary War until the Constitution was written is the lost history of this country. It's not taught any longer. But it's probably the most valuable of all the eras in this country. We see why there was a Revolutionary War. We see the problems the colonies had with their homeland, England. We see the development of this country through the years. But we don't see why and how the Constitution came into existence. The lost history of the United States really is the development of the Constitution. Why the Constitution is so important. What does it establish? And why it establishes it. It's not explained because that part of history is lost. People don't realize that after the Revolutionary War, the states got together and declared themselves the United States of America. And they had an Article of Confederation which bounded them together as a nation, yet each state was independent. They were so independent to the point that states were entering treaties with other countries. States were printing their own money. States were tariffing traffic between each state. If you went from Rhode Island, for example, to Virginia, you had to have several different kinds of money just to travel. You couldn't travel from one end of the colonies to the other. And the laws were so different that normal life, let's say in Rhode Island or Massachusetts, in Virginia may be totally against the law. There was no common bond. There was a lot of problems. A real lot of problems. The convention in which the Constitution was written was not set up to write the Constitution. They were set up to fix the Articles of Confederation. And after several attempts, they realized it couldn't be done. that's where the Constitution begins, in order to form a more perfect union. So, why am I doing this? I truly feel that we today need to know why the Constitution was written. I truly feel we today need to understand the problems that faced our forefathers when they gathered in Philadelphia to fix the problems of the Articles of Confederation, and how frustrated they were at trying to do something that couldn't be done, and why those problems existed and what they were. And then we Americans today may truly understand what the Constitution is and where our responsibility to our government lies. We're different. Our country is so different because the responsibility of keeping our government on the right path is the responsibility of its citizens. The responsibility of seeing to it that our government represents us is the responsibility of its citizens. The responsibility to ensure that the governing body of the United States of America serves the people, again, is our responsibility. Not Congress, not the House, not the Senate, not the Supreme Court, and not the President. It's their job to serve us, but it is our responsibility, yes, our responsibility, to see to it that they do their job. So, I ask, what happened to the lost history of the United States of America? Who is really the first president of the United States of America? And who was his vice president? And how did they become president and vice president? Why didn't George Washington accept it? He refused it. What was wrong with this country after the Revolutionary War that caused the Constitution to have to be written? And why was the Constitution written? And then if we understand all those questions, we'll understand our responsibility to each and every American, as well as our responsibility to this country. Because to be a free American citizen is not what you're born into. It is what we must do to maintain it. We are lucky in this country to be born here. How our government functions is our responsibility and no one else's. Thank you. This is JD. Believe me, I'm not gone yet. And I believe in our Constitution, and I believe in our people. And together, we make an unbeatable combination. Have a nice night.